So lately, I know you guys are shocked, but there seems to be a competition amongst the right wingers, which I don't even know if I can call them right wingers anymore because they are officially the Republican Party. You know how there's this like weird thing about establishment Dems and there's the left wing of the thing and the progressives are fighting with the establishment, and there's some distinct differences, tactically anyways, between these groups, and it's real. Everybody who's relatively normal has been broomed from the Republican Party. So now the Republican Party is just a repository for right-wing chicanery. It's honestly. So it shouldn't come as any surprise that they're all right now jockeying to be the shittiest person ever. And right now, anybody who's been keeping score at home, the current winner, leader, that didn't work either. Front runner, sure, we'll just call it that. Is of course Depresh D'Souza or Dinesh D'Souza, however you'd like to refer to. We have not checked in on pronouns, but I mean that would be rude to assume. So yeah, Dinesh is now just trying to out awful everyone. That is apparently the key to all of this is, and I've got to pull this back, whatever. This is basically all right, I understand shooting for Insta, right? Which is what this is. This is what we're watching. This is on his YouTube channel. But all of his videos are shot like this. They are all like, I'm just saying, YouTube, you are Dinesh D'Souza's side piece. He's all in on Insta. And he thinks that's where his, I think Depressed D'Souza is actually the best nickname for him currently, considering his current mental state. But this is called the Emerging American KGB. Yeah. Okay. If I may.
What's going on with the Capitol Police and January 6th?
A couple of things. They were attacked. There's been some suicides. There's been a lot of injuries. There's been a lot of, PTSD-related depression. That's not what you're talking about, is it? That's not what it is. It's something else. What is going on? Tell us.
Two little data points jump out at me. The first...
Oh, no. Please tell me you're wearing pants. Unlike Mike Lindell. Hold on one goddamn second. All right. This is totally off I don't even know why this, but Mike you know that clip we did of Mike Lindell the day before yesterday? He was outside at a hotel he was staying at, and he was apparently in his underwear. I'm not, so remember when he was waving people by? By the way, this is, wherever the hell he is staying, somebody comes over and they're like, "Hey, Mike Lindell," and he's like, "It's going to be the greatest thing ever." Look, he didn't put on pants. I'm going with underwear. I'm going with boxers. But anyways, I know here's the thing. Let's just say for a second, let's just go out on a limb and say it is shorts. He's still lying to viewers. Mike, nobody dresses like that. Maybe Jeffrey Toobin. Maybe. But yeah, he is a living, yes, he is a living Zoom trope. Yes, he is. All right, let's. I don't even know if you hear what he's saying, because this is the actual video we played the other
Let them call you names. What I'm saying is, be strong. Don't them push around or call you names like a completely clueless, crazy old man who believes everything he reads on the internet. Don't let them call you names. Stay strong. You're doing great. Love you, man.
Said, oh, he's out of money. That's why he's dropping Fox. No, what they don't realize is by dropping Fox, it costs us money and a lot of money because we are direct response.
Okay, by the way, can I just say for a moment, you guys know how, like, I am with tech issue stuff, and, you know, I have my fair share. But when I'm on the road, and I do my, for the years that I've been doing my radio show live on the road, where I've had to find internet, you know, back in the day when, you know, there wasn't 5G around that you could actually, you know, relatively, you know, you could stream a relatively high quality show on 5G or even 4G or LTE. But before that, like when I was literally like, I had to Ethernet or no, it was, you know, Ethernet or bust. I could occasionally, I would be confronted with using the business center in a hotel, right? That's the only thing open to me. And it, you know, when they call it a business center, it's a printer in a closet with a glass door. Let's be honest, right? 9600 baud, baby. That's right. Oh yeah, and the Ustream, absolutely. So, I mean, the amount of stuff I would have to go through so I could have an isolated point, like finding an unused boardroom or something in the hotel that had Ethernet in it, so that I wouldn't be, just because I didn't want to be loud in my hotel room for the people on either side, because I get a little carried away and I could be a bit loud. And so, just out of respect for the guests there, who may or may not share my political beliefs, they might not even hear it. I might sound like Charlie Brown's teacher through the door or through the window or through the, you know, like across the quad or through the wall in these hotels wherever I am, just but it can be really aggravating. So I'm pretty sensitive about this. It's one of the reasons why I have never done my show full on anyways as a live stream from a Starbucks, for example. I've seen people live stream some stuff from Starbucks. It's a dick move. But look at this asshole. He's sitting out in between in the like common area, but in these outdoor bungalows wherever at the extended stay, wherever the hell he is, yammering his ass off. Beyond the fact that he's in half a suit and he's in his underwear and his rig setup is shit, for the record. I'm calling it out right now. It's an iPhone. This is what we're seeing. By the way, we're all seeing this is all the Mike BTS we need. Understand that Brandon House, who runs Lindell TV and has his own show on Lindell's network, he's not sitting in a common area using an iPhone to show up on that guy's network. That guy is. Well, how aren't you delighted to see Mike in underwear? Well, I'm glad he has something on. But Christ almighty. What a dick. I mean, there's people walking by. That guy just went to the store. See that guy with the bag in his hand behind Mike? Right over there? I'm sorry, not Mike. Mr. Pillow. And then there's another person who walks by. Obviously, this guy's trolling him as he goes by. They cut away from it in the broadcast that we saw, I think. Either that or they, you know, just killed the audio on it. But this is an asshole move. I'm just saying. You know, sometimes we're forgiving of Mike Lindell because he's a little dopey. But this is rude. Right? Oops, I'm not.
Killing names?
That's, all right, there he is. Look, this is untucked shirt, shorts, all bullshit. This is bullshit in the front, party under the table. This is the mullet of suits. So, just saying. So this is that kind of level of thing again, where he's just this is Dinesh D'Souza's chosen Instagram and podcast. Really? He does 8-minute segments, not a podcast. I mean, maybe there's a full version of something. None of us are going to listen to it. I mean, for real. And thank you for the level 4 hype train, kids. Awesome. Thank you.
One is Capitol Hill police officers committing suicide. Now,
yeah. Now, I know that he's going to handle this with the sensitivity that the subject matter requires. I'm kidding. He's going to shit on the dead.
why would they do that? The left, of course, automatically assumes, without, by the way, a shred of evidence, that these are people who are just emotionally traumatized by the violent sedition of January 6th, and so 6 months later, they're like, okay, that's it, I'm out of here. That's one explanation, but
The audio is very strange. Hold on. That might be on my end.
a more plausible explanation, I think, is that some of these Capitol Police officers are pretty conservative. Policemen in general tend to be. And these
Oh, I see. I see, Dinesh. So they're committing suicide because Biden became president.
are people who have been, ever since January 6th, hounded by Pelosi and by the left and by their own leaders for their own reasons to lie, to create a false narrative, to make some
Yeah, that's why they committed suicide because they're being asked to testify. They would rather kill themselves than lie about the fact that it was BLM and Antifa.
of January 6th that it really wasn't, and to destroy the lives of all the people who were involved in January 6th. And so what's happening is that these Capitol Police
Wait, I'm sorry. No, they're not seeking to destroy the lives of everyone who was involved in January 6th. All the assholes who just watched Trump's speech and then went the fuck home, no problems whatsoever. They have zero problems. You know, the folks that walked up there and literally trespassed during a riot, who could be charged, they're not. There's about 9,000 people that stepped past the barriers on January 6th at the Capitol. About 600 of them are currently being indicted. Another 400, about all told, probably 1,100 of them will face some sort of charges legitimately. So no, not everyone.
officers are beginning to feel a pang of conscience. They're beginning to feel, wow, do I want to participate as a police officer dedicated to the upholding the rule of law in this scandalous depredation of law, in this police state operation that is apparently authorized by the Speaker of the House? Now,
I see. They're committing suicide not because of any personal issues they have, or even January 6th. It's because Pelosi is making them arrest people who won't wear a mask. That's why. I'm amazed. Okay, it's official. Like I thought we'd heard like he'd pegged the meter on garbage. I had no idea this went to 11.
what makes me think that we are looking at a kind of police state operation, or let's call it Nancy Pelosi's private militia? Well, I've been very
Nancy Pelosi's private militia. Well, apparently she's got a shit private militia because they have stormed and taken no ground whatsoever, and apparently they have this ratty habit of protecting Republicans and Democrats alike.
interested in the way that Pelosi has been empowering the Capitol Police and trying to provide funding for them, by the way. There's a bill that's passed the House very narrowly, hasn't passed yet the Senate, to give the Capitol Police all kinds of money and authorization to do things that they previously haven't. Recently,
Yeah, like have protective gear on hand all the time instead of having to have it like stored blocks away.
Matt Gaetz made an observation in one of his talks. He said,
Look, if you're going to say the age of consent in a state is 15, I mean, is it really if no one puts it to the test? Is that what he said? It did, or what is he? What could have been? Don't call me big boy. Is that what he said? No.
What in the heck is the Capitol Police doing setting up an office in Tampa, Florida? Very good question. Here's the answer for it.
Okay, Tampa, Florida, Capitol Police setting up an office. Go.
The Capitol Police are basically trying to expand their operations nationwide. They're trying to get the idea or promote the idea, this is the leadership in league with Pelosi, that we got to prevent an event like January 6th. And to do that, we've got to monitor extremist behavior across the country. Well, how do we do that?
Well, clearly, you zip down to Tampa. Because if you're looking for the capital of lunacy, that's actually, I'm kidding. It's not. It's Tallahassee, actually. Tampa's a little more diverse and fun. I mean, there's obviously some shit going down there fairly regularly, but not on this scale.
The Capitol Police now are using Army surveillance gear to monitor Americans and, quote, identify.
Oh my God. You mean you're against the militarization of the police? When did that start? Oh, right. After your failed coup.
Emerging threats. Now, wait a minute. Aren't the Capitol Police supposed to protect the Capitol? And don't we have another organization? Ever heard of the...
Yeah, guys. What? In Ireland. Oh, it's beautiful. So, Dinesh's plan, by the way, in case you ever want to strategize in future, if you're planning on being in a position of power, or any, I mean, you could apply this to engineering, construction. You could do this with any kind of military situation, FEMA, any of these areas. What Dinesh would suggest you do is when you know that there's an increasing danger of something happening, no matter how much new information you have about where the threat is and how far it goes and what kind of intel you might need to prevent an attack in the future, what you really want to do is stay back at the absolute last line and don't do anything until you are already under attack. For any country, I think that's a great strategy. And certainly for the capital of America, the United States Capitol should basically, when they say last line of defense, that's what he means. That's the line. You cannot defend it outside of that line. It's kind of like Foursquare or tag rules.
Federal Bureau of Investigation that is supposed to monitor threats on a nationwide level. Since when does a local police turn into a national kind of militia, empowered to do all kinds?
Well, they're not local. They're federal employees. Kind of like the Secret Service. You know what I mean? Now, aren't the Secret Service local to wherever the fuck the president is? No, they work for Treasury, but Dinesh won't know that either.
Of things that it never did before, and as we will see with oversight. So the Capitol Police now will start using Army surveillance equipment to monitor Americans. They're
like what? Binoculars and listening device. What kind of Army devices? They're going to use M16s to listen to people. It's a curious listening device. People tend to make a lot of noise, though, when you point one at them. So maybe that's what he's talking about.
Turning the force into, quote, an intelligence-based protective agency. Intelligence-based.
Right. Something it was not when Trump was in office.
I mean, they've taken possession of 8 of these so-called, they're called PSSG systems, persistent surveillance systems. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has...
What's the G for? Gear? Yeah, I know it's M4's Dream Simmons. These are leftovers. It is true that they currently use M4s. This is right. It's what my cousin uses on the job.
Prove this, and so they're able to do high-definition surveillance. Now, by the way, this is technology that came out of the military. This is technology that was used...
Yeah, so did the internet, which is what you're on, dickwad.
Oh my God, there's so much that. Do you realize
Velcro was invented for the military. Good God.
By the US government in Iraq and Afghanistan. It was used to observe large areas and monitor them day and night, 24 hours a day.
Okay, so they're going to set those up in Tampa, is what you're saying? So the idea is that they went down there and they've set up like organizational spaces or within federal, like the either FBI offices or the like, and strategically around the country as field offices essentially with the extra funding they have, so that they can be aware of noise on the ground if anybody decides to attack the Capitol ever again. Now it's obviously flexible, and they're not obviously setting up permanent. There will not be the Capitol Police headquarters in Tampa, but whatever. We'll let his fantasy run wild. But so that this gear that runs 24/7, where they can use high definition video and audio, is going to be set up around the Capitol building of the richest, most powerful country in the world. But it came from the military. They can't listen to the yard. What if they'd had it set up on the day, Dinesh? They would know, not only who built the gallows, but, whose cousin Ernie gave them a deal on the wood.
So, according to the Capitol Police, this kind of surveillance, which they call, quote, state-of-the-art surveillance, is intended to, quote, enhance...
But, by the way, you don't have to say, quote, state-of-the-art. It is state-of-the-art. It's the state-of-the-art. And if it isn't, why isn't it? That's a bragging phrase. You're not going, why are they using state-of-the-art? Huh? This is your tax dollars. Do you want your tax dollars spent on the best stuff to protect your capital? America? I don't think so. So the whole America first thing, that was just bullshit, Joel.
The ability to detect and monitor threat activity. As if to say, we now need to turn the kind of attention that we've been giving to the Taliban and to ISIS onto fellow Americans. And by the way, the Capitol Police...
For the record, Dinesh, I have to say, let me check 1 second. How do we look this up? Let's see. Let's see, something right here. Let's see. District records. This is older, but Destination DC reports a total of 23.8 million visitors in 2018, up 4% from 2017, the ninth consecutive year for record visitation in the district. The district had a 1.9 million overseas visitors last year, so 2 million foreigners, Dinesh, coming down to the Capitol. So just so you know, in case any of those people are trouble, they have translators and people that when they can hear shit really clearly, it's a lot easier to translate things like, Arabic and French. Those guys are trouble. No, not to listen to Americans. To listen to whoever's threatening. And by the way, for the record, we've heard a lot from the Republicans over the last few years about what real America is. The flyover states. That's real America. These are, Lee Greenwood listening Trump supporters. That's your real Americans. These are the people also who sided with the Confederacy, which was a foreign government established to attack the United States of America, and still do, in a lot of ways. And then, of course, decided to attack the Capitol on the day because they couldn't install a dictator permanently. I mean, let's be clear. None of them were going to be fine with Trump getting just 4 more years. Don't be ridiculous. So we have to. I just have to insist, Denise, that you use that you say Americans in quotes when discussing these things.
Doing it. Now, normally when federal agencies like the FBI undertake this kind of activity, they're part of the executive branch, and so they're subject to freedom of information requests. They're subject to certain types of court oversight to make sure that.
Yeah, but they're also law enforcement agencies using technology to fight against terrorists, killers, bombers, would-be murderers, insurrectionists, people who want, foreign governments that want to destroy the United States of America. One of the ways they could do it is by attacking our capital. So they don't have to tell you everything, stupid. Honest to God, like, this is one of the areas where when people start going, we need oversight and the CIA and the NCA, I'm like, yeah, within reason. But we don't have to pants ourselves to the world because the people on the receiving end of legitimate investigations start screaming victim.
They are carrying out their functions within the bounds of the law. But here's the difference. The Capitol Police is not bound by any of this. They don't have to respond to FOIA, Freedom of Information Act requests. They're not under the same
Well, sure they do. They just can say, piss off.
kind of
Just
court
allow-
oversight. Why? Because they are a branch of the legislature. So it's not possible for a court to say you're breaking the law. Why? Because the legislature, which is to say under the supervision of Nancy Pelosi, makes the law. So since the Capitol Police are directly accountable to the legislature, i.e. to the Speaker of the House, I'm quoting here from a report that was put out by Roll Call last summer. It says, quote, Congress is not itself subject to the law, because it is the law, and the Capitol Police as a component of the legislative branch is also exempt from any FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, request. So what you have here is a rogue agency. Rogue in the
No, you don't. What you have here is a police department specific to a particular federal building, which is the target for not only the destruction by every hostile power on Earth and every sideline ISIS offshoot, but if you believe Independence Day, pretty much any alien that has the ability to fly someplace is of course going to blow shit up, because it's not like they could blow shit up at home. If you got the kind of technology that allows you to travel light years from home, you're obviously going to go to destroy things, because that can't be allowed. No, they don't have to tell the entire world, including the North Koreans and everybody else, how, when, and where they gather information. They have closed sessions that they have to respond to our representatives in government as people who have taken an oath to protect the country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And so we basically deal with that secrecy by electing people we trust to be the guardrails. Now, there's a difference here, because none of the people on the right, it seems, can be trusted with the guardrails. Maybe, I guess Cheney and Kitzinger aside, but I don't know, beyond their refusal to kowtow to Trump, there's a lot of other stuff that they would do that I'm sure I don't side with as far as national security stuff goes. That said, anything Dinesh knows or Steve Bannon knows, the Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians, and ISIS know. Just, yeah.
It operates at the behest of Pelosi. It's very clear that all those lying officers that came up there and said, oh, there was a crowd shouting racial slogans at me, a complete made-up lie.
Racial slogans. Slogans. I see. Okay, I have a bunch of jokes in my head. I'm not going to say them because they offend me.
But these lies were scripted. You could even see one of the officers who basically could hardly read English. He was kind of talking at the 4th grade level, but he was
English is his second language, dipshit. And he prepared remarks because speaking to Congress is a meaningful moment in your life. I know you love President Freeball, who just, not everybody, you have to understand, Dinesh, not everybody has a grip on the English language the way Trump does.
The Burmese executives, so this Burmese, they say, pronounce it Burmese. Free health care for illegal, look. illegal. Look, Birmisia, to me, Corona means Italy.
So understand, not everybody
Michigan gave us Motang.
can grasp English at the level that Dinesh's hero does.
Was reading these beautifully scripted sentences because obviously they were just put in front of him and they said, basically, read this. So,
Hi, fuckhead. Shit talking a cop is like a new low for anybody on the right. But this is extraordinary. Just literally laughing off the statement of these officers that were clearly attacked. There's video showing them physically attacked. Look, there's even wiggle room for this dipshit. This is how big a scumbag Dinesh D'Souza is. This is it. You could say, well, yeah, sure, there's video of them being beaten. Sure, there's video of them nearly being blinded. Sure, there's video of them literally pushing back against a giant crowd, yelling heave ho, and crushing them against the doors. But it wasn't, those weren't MAGA supporters. Those were Antifa and BLM. And therefore, I have sympathy for the officers, but their anger is misplaced. Right? You could field that narrative. It's dumb, and it's not true. And but when has that ever stopped this asshole? So you could actually make the argument that, yes, I understand these guys went through a lot. I know it's very emotional. You can see how emotional they're getting, but this is not who attacked them. That could be a talking point. I don't want to help these assholes out, but that's how you would do it if you had two brain cells to rub together. But this fuckhead is, when he is aware that there was video played before and during their testimony that showed them being assaulted by people who are clearly wearing Trump gear and shouting shit like hang Mike Pence and saying they're going to shoot Nancy Pelosi in the head and they're going to kill AOC and whose house, our house, and hang Mike Pence in the same sentence. He saw the video. He's seen it. And what he's saying is that these officers who he saw attacked are performing, that they are crisis actors, because that's what a douchebag he is. Christ.
you have a pathetic, embarrassing organization, but nevertheless one that, because of the power that is being given to it by the government and by Pelosi, is also extremely dangerous.
No, we're not listening to Ted Nugent. Honest to God, I don't know. I don't think anybody else does either. I don't know what the fucking point is that they're trying to make. Literally, I guess they're trying to undermine the January 6th Commission, but does anybody buy this shit? I've heard it from multiple sources, by the way, and it's not original. There's been this story about how Russian state TV has started pushing this narrative that the police who killed themselves on January 6th were fake. This is all, the deep state faked their suicides. And this is, by the way, 100% in line with the talking points of Dinesh D'Souza and others.